Three-time undisputed champion on the way.
As Terence Crawford wraps up his training camp after 2 months of intensity, Netflix released a new series that captured the craziest and most intense moments of training camp experience. The series' first episode opens with his first week in training camp after he had just added enough weight for his new weight class. He was then shown at different gyms, like the UFC gym, the gym he used before he went to the mountains, and the gym he did his training while on the mountains.
Hey, I appreciate you. Everything that you done for me. You and Riyadh City.
You must
The job ain't done yet.
Yeah.
The job ain't done yet.
Yeah.
This time, Crawford was more intentional in ensuring he carried his speed into his new weight class. Hence, his exercises were more conditioning exercises aimed at ensuring flexibility and easy body movement than bodybuilding exercises.
Terence, any chance your kids become UFC champions?
No.
Why not?
They don't pay you enough.
The episode continues with him jogging more miles than he's ever done, while hitting the mitts, the pads, and the punching bags with a timer that was to measure how many hits he could make within a time frame. When compared with other training camps he's had in the past, the difference is so clear that this fight presents a new challenge to him, and he's proving to be up to the task. He gets up as early and gets on a jog for some miles to aid his athleticism. He then returns for breakfast and goes about his boxing, sparring, and weightlifting for the rest of the day with breaks in between. In fact, it's now clear why he decided not to take a tune-up fight before facing Canelo. His idea was to spend the first few months getting in shape and the remaining few months preparing for his opponent. And things have gone just as he planned it. Some months ago, he revealed on his social media how much weight he has added ahead of the fight. Surprisingly, he was 18 pounds above the super middleweight limit of 168 pounds. And having dealt with the weight issue, Crawford has now begun training for Canelo Alvarez with such mind-blowing intensity that he's never been shown before. He's hitting punching bags violently, hitting the mitts, going on marathons for athleticism and endurance, doing bodybuilding exercises, shadow boxing, working on his footwork, and other aspects of his boxing. Most importantly, he has begun sparring with much bigger fighters. Crawford's approach to training for his fight against Canelo Alvarez combines rigorous physical preparation with a strong mental game, setting him apart in the boxing world. Crawford's current training routine is a diverse blend of activities designed to hone his boxing prowess, maintain peak physical condition, improve his punch power, and make him gain the necessary weight he needs to challenge Canelo Alvarez. A typical day in the champ's training routine includes circuit training with weights, strength, and conditioning workouts to improve speed and agility. Core work where McIntyre bounces a heavy medicine ball off Crawford's stomach while he's doing crunches, mountain runs, and swimming.
Smaller fighter, but if you look on the stage, I've been sparring these big dudes my whole career. Like, how I'm gonna take a punch, they punch me every time we spar. So, you know, it's okay. You know, once
Terence Crawford is especially a fan of swimming for cardio training. We'll swim for 30 minutes to an hour every night. It's non-impact, basically, easy on their joints. It helps with recovery, regeneration of muscle cells and fibers. It's not natural for him, so he has to work a little bit harder. It's a different type of cardio from running. I think it helps tremendously on the cardio side. He then moves to boxing training. With his boxing training, Crawford is always working hard to improve his moves both on the attack and the defense. You can see this clearly when he practices with his pads. One of the things that makes him stand out is how easily he can switch between two different stances when he fights. At first, his coaches tried to convince him to stick to one stance, but eventually they realized it was better to train him in both. You can still see him practicing this way today. When boxers train for a fight, they often practice sparring with other boxers to improve. This was especially true for Terence Crawford early in his career. He was so good that even top boxers like Timothy Bradley were impressed by him. Nowadays, Terence is one of the best boxers in the world, and other boxers come to him to spar. They don't usually win, though, because Terence is so good. Even though Terence is naturally right-handed, he is also good at fighting with his left hand. When Crawford spars with other boxers, he often uses his world-class left hand. Boxing fans know that developing punching power requires a lot of hard work. One of the main tools used for this purpose is the heavy bag. Crawford, a professional boxer, is no exception. Crawford uses the heavy bag to practice his punching technique and build his shoulder endurance. Watching Terence in action, you can see him throwing powerful punches, quick combinations, and everything in between. To get the most out of his training, Crawford mixes up the rhythm of his punches, sometimes hitting the bag softly and other times with full force.
You know, I'm gonna make all those doubters at the end of the day, at the end of the fight, they all gonna cry when they get home. You know, and I meant that. I meant that. You know, everybody's talking about the size and, you know, me being a smaller fighter.
This is a common exercise that helps him improve his overall boxing skills. Crawford has been working with his coaches for most of his life. One of the most important parts of his training is practicing on the pads with his coaches. During these sessions, he doesn't focus on hitting hard or fast. Instead, he works on different offensive and defensive scenarios, focusing on technique and tactics. Crawford and his coaches also use other training tools, like reaction noodles and a punch shield, to improve their movement and precision. Terence Crawford is a phenomenal shadow boxer with some impressive skills. One of the things that make him stand out is his ability to stay calm and adapt to different situations in the ring. He's good at throwing offensive and defensive punches, making it look effortless. But that's not all. Crawford is also incredibly tough mentally. He'll often train in really challenging conditions to push himself harder. And when he's not doing that, he likes to use light 2-kilogram dumbbells to shadow box. These help him build strength while also staying fast yet graceful, so he can hit hard while still being quick on his feet. Crawford is consistently looking to improve his accuracy and timing. To achieve this, he uses a specific bag called the double-end bag during his training. It helps him to practice footwork and head movement, which are important skills to have in the boxing ring. His coach, Bomac, also uses sticks to surprise Crawford and make him react defensively. Also, his nutrition plan focuses on lean proteins, complex carbohydrates, and hydration, ensuring optimal performance and recovery. During camp, I let my coach handle everything with the food. My nutritionist tells him what she wants me to eat and she fixes it, he told Muscle and Fitness. The last time, she actually was with me the entire camp and she handled everything with the food. I really don't worry about that. They cook it and I eat it.
We get in the ring and they see something different, like each and every time, there's gonna be another excuse. Why, the reason why Terence won and this and that and that is, but I can assure you, I'm gonna be victorious. And after that, we're gonna have another parade.
Terence Crawford's camp believes his secret weapon poses a unique challenge for Canelo Alvarez. As the two prepare for a high-stakes showdown, Crawford's unorthodox style could prove pivotal. As anticipation builds for the September 12th showdown in Las Vegas, Terence Crawford's inner circle believes the undefeated fighter represents a challenge that Canelo Alvarez has yet to solve in his long and decorated career. Famous boxing trainer Teddy Atlas was last for words once Terence Crawford emerged victorious after the fight. "If there was just one person to do this in this generation, I was going to opt for Terence Crawford, and he did it," Teddy Atlas said. To Atlas, Terence Crawford put up a boxing masterclass and didn't put a foot wrong. Interestingly, it was nothing worse than what Atlas had earlier predicted.
And to see things that nobody else can see because he slows it down. Yeah, he's got great power, he carried it up. Yeah, he's got good hand speed. Yeah, he's got all that. He's got good technique. His coaches do a tremendous job with him. But the timing is impeccable. It's better than anyone else's. Why? Because of this.
With support from boxing greats ramping up after sealing his date with destiny, even the doubters who had been focusing on his weight disadvantage and his close win against an Olympian who pushed him to the limit in Israel Madrimov have now showered praises on him. Another veteran head coach who lauded Crawford's ability but voiced his concern for the Omaha native in his pairing with super middleweight kingpin Canelo has now retracted his words after Crawford went 12 rounds against Canelo like it was sparring.
Evident at the beginning of the fight, but as the fight goes on, Canelo's going to start pounding on him, and I think that the fight ends somewhere between the 9th and 12th round.
You really think because of the size difference, he can stop Crawford?
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that anything Canelo hits him with is going to hurt him.
More than familiar with preparing a fighter to share the ring with Canelo, veteran Mexican coach Abel Sanchez trained former world champion Gennady Golovkin for his infamous series with the Guadalajara pugilist during his esteemed career. He handled Canelo the way he was supposed to, and I'm beyond astonished. Congrats to him, and weighing in on Crawford's chances of toppling Canelo earlier, who is unbeaten at the super middleweight limit in his career, Sanchez suggested the challenger has already made one sizable mistake in his pre-fight preparations.
And I'm not saying early it may be a fight, early it may be interesting because of the speed and because of Canelo being slower because he's at a heavier weight. Because the guys that he fights at a heavier weight, you kind of assimilate your speed to their speed. But Terence will be 3 or 4 rounds before Canelo figures out what he's doing, just like what it took Golovkin to figure out.
If Terence Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years like Canelo Alvarez did and built up not only his strength but his bulk in a correct way, he would have had a better chance, Sanchez told The Ring. To do it in the 14-15 months he's done it in, it's going to be tough. Crawford is going to be a lot slower because of the weight also. Well, Crawford proved him wrong, and he's undisputed once again. Former unified light heavyweight champion Antonio Tarver, who claimed he saw himself in the Omaha boxer because of fans and pundits doubting his abilities after achieving greatness, said Crawford was a generational talent. And when the light shined brightest to prove this, the American didn't disappoint.
Footwork ain't been what it's supposed to be lately, and he hasn't fought a real threat in a long time. Now, sometimes we can get so comfortable in that zone, but now you got to go down deep to get ready for Crawford. You feel me? He got to go deep. Now, we don't know if Canelo still had that in him.
Crawford was built differently. He's one of a kind, and we saw that tonight. Boxing is lucky to have him. During a podcast for First Round TV, Tarver explained his thoughts on the super fight. He said, "I love Crawford. He reminds me of me when I look at everything he's gone through, everything he had to overcome, being the pound for pound without getting recognized as the pound for pound, and he's still fighting for respect."
So I was impressed with what I saw.
If that was Canelo in there, like it was supposed to be.
How could it be Canelo? How could it have been Canelo, bro? Think about that. Canelo is undisputed. How could it have been Canelo? Everybody talk, everybody say a lot of things, and we know that's their.
Longtime trainer and boxing commentator Teddy Atlas spoke with Ring Magazine on his thoughts on the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight, and why he's seemingly leaning towards Crawford to pull out the win over the naturally bigger Canelo. Throughout the history of the sport, there has always been one of the greatest questions. Who wins between the real good big man and the real good little man? Atlas said. That has been a question through the history of the sport, and we're getting another chance to answer that question. You can make arguments on both sides.
To do the win, but I still see the greatness. The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, it's in his background, where he came from. That there's something about, just like a Sugar Ray Leonard had that something about him when he's a junkyard dog, when he has to be a junkyard dog.
Well, Canelo is too big. He's too big, and as good as Crawford is, he stepped up with Madrimov and he struggled a little bit. He won, but it was more competitive than we thought. But we didn't understand how good Madrimov was because we underestimated him, because he only had 10 pro fights, but he had 300 amateur fights. He was a good, solid fighter. We started to knock down Crawford a little bit because our expectations were so high, and that's wrong. That's wrong. He won, he changed gears, he did what he had to do when he realized the level of this guy in front of him, and he got the win.
And I'm not saying early it may be a fight, early it may be interesting because of the speed and because of Canelo being slower because he's at a heavier weight. Because the guys that he fights at a heavier weight, you kind of assimilate your speed to their speed. But Terence will be 3 or 4 rounds before Canelo figures out what he's doing, just like what it took Golovkin to figure out.
But again, people are going to say Canelo is too big. He had trouble with a 154-pound guy when he went up from welterweight, so now he's going up to 168. I'm going to make an argument through the history of the sport where little guys have been able to beat big guys, because you reverse it. You reverse who's got the advantage and the disadvantage. The size, the power of Canelo, then all of a sudden you go back and you say, hey, wait a minute, the other guy's faster, the other guy's craftier, the other guy has more options. Maybe he's got the advantages like the first time Pacquiao fought De La Hoya, and I know De La Hoya was having trouble with weight and all that. I get it, and that's fair.
Dog when he has to be a junkyard dog. And with all the intangible gifts that I just touched on, not just that the ones that we already know, that he has speed, he's got power, I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it, but those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
At the end of the day, you have an argument on both sides. Who really has the advantage? I want to find out. I'm one of the people that think Crawford's very, very special. I'm not saying Canelo's not, but I think he's special in a different way, where he's got instincts not everyone has. It's the timing, it's the instinctual things, the X factors. I think they're going to show themselves. I really do. And I can't wait to see a smaller guy use those intangibles, use those X factors to beat a bigger guy. Crawford is clearly onto something big. It's him stepping up to confront the biggest challenge of his career. And on Saturday, we'll see whether he achieves his goals or not. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.